Hi guys, what's going on? This is Stand Up to Be Counted One Voice, first video on YouTube, several videos on Facebook for at Stand Up to Be Counted One Voice. I'd like to thank all the guys that's already supporting and sending in feedback and information to Stand Up to Be Counted One Voice at gmail.com. Thank you guys all for your feedback and your wonderful support. Anyway, and if you're on Facebook and you see this, you can go to my page and stand up and be counted one voice and like my page and leave me feedback and comments. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit about Stand Up and Be Counted One Voice. We are raising awareness for suicide and depression, and we want people to know that suicide and depression is truly something very important, and that those people that have these feelings and these illness, that people are out there and we are here for you, and you do not have to commit suicide. You do not have to go out that way. People are here for you. I do have a couple of things that I want to talk about on here today. Some of the things is that I want to start off by saying I read this awesome blog by this guy named by the name of Justin Gilpin, and he actually has a website. It's justingilpin.com. Justin and Gilpin, just as it's sounded out, .com. Go to there and read his blogs. He has one about depression, about how he went through it and how he was able to help, how he got help and things like that. 2 thumbs up to Justin Gilpin. I don't know him, but like I said, that was an awesome blog. Anyway, and what I want to do is talk about some of the things that um, the telltale signs of depression and suicide. But before I go into there, also I want to talk about how to cope with suicide. But before I go into there, oh, excuse me, I'm not, um, I want to read a little story about a guy named Kyle and his friend that saved his life. And, well, you know what? I'm not going to read it. I'll just tell you the story briefly about this guy named Kyle. I don't know if this is a true story or not, but briefly, there was a guy named Kyle back in probably in middle school or junior high who was semi like a nerd or whatever. And the narrator of the story is seeing him and watching him, and he's taking some books home one day, and some kids are running towards him and knocks him over knocks over his glasses, his on his face, and just like, well, whatever, throws all his books down or whatever. And so the guy goes over to help Kyle, and from there they become very good friends, and they remain friends throughout high school, and they're seniors in high school, and they started making college plans. And Kyle would go to Georgetown, and this friend of his would go to Duke. Even though the miles would be between them, they would still remain to be friends. Well, before graduating and going off to Duke, Kyle was the valedictorian of his school, of his class, and so his friend was very proud of him, and Kyle was kind of nervous or whatever, and so his friend gave him some advice and said, "You do good." Well, as Kyle began to do his speech for graduation, he was thankful for his parents, thankful for his teachers, and all those that helped him and mentored him and helped him through the tough times and the tough years. Well, at the end of it, Kyle said he was mostly thankful for his friend because that particular weekend when he saw Kyle was actually going home and taking all of his stuff home, and he was actually going to commit suicide. Kyle was getting ready to kill himself, but because this guy who was a complete stranger stood in and started helping Kyle and became very good friends with him and didn't judge him because he was a nerd, and didn't judge him because he wore glasses and all these things. He became very good friends with Kyle, and so from that, Kyle had the opportunity to continue to live and further his future. Awesome story. I'll actually type it up and post it up on Facebook at my website called Stand Up and Be Counted One Voice. Also, real briefly, going into some of the things I've already mentioned my website a couple of times. It's not my website, I'm sorry, my email address at Stand Up and Be Counted One Voice. And you can always email me there if you have any insight, or if you just need to release something or talk about it. And also at the NSPL, which is the National Suicidal Prevention Lifeline, you can call and talk to someone there, and their number is 1-800-273-3733. 8255. Again, it's so important that people realize how deadly hatred and things is, because that's where it begins. That's where suicide and depression starts, from people who hate. And so people that treat people wrong, as you know in the story, if Kyle would nobody would have befriended Kyle and been his friend, then Kyle would have went on and later on killed himself. And the reason why Kyle carried his books home was because he didn't want his mother to go through the remembrance and the heartache of having to go to his locker at school, clean his locker out, and bring all this stuff home. So he really didn't want to torment his parents for that. So, in saying all that, so people, let's come together and let's stop the hatred and stop all the harshness, so that we can truly stop depression and suicide and suicidal thoughts. Um, but you would never know unless you knew the signs and the telltale signs for suicide. And some of those signs are, sadness, and people who feel like they're worthless, and people that are irritable, just irritable, crying spells, sleeping problems when to sleep, loss of appetite, insomnia, anxiety, thoughts of suicide, of course, withdrawals, just things like that. And restlessness. And I wouldn't tell you those telltale signs without helping you out to cope with some of the things. And some of those things, you can basically ignore the thoughts would be one. Find something good in life, something positive, reach out to people. And I would think one of the main things would be, well, for me it was to admit it. Yes, to admit that I went through a phase of depression. Second of all, that I had suicidal thoughts, and that suicide had been running through my head, and listening to the voices, and just to let the people out there know that you're not alone. And that's one of the main reasons that I'm making this video, and that I'm on YouTube and I'm spreading the word and letting people know you are not alone. This is not a suicidal video. I am not gonna kill myself. This is I am raising awareness for suicide and depression. So don't get it twisted. That's not what this is. So if you know me, you recognize my face. I'm not. This is not a suicidal note. This is, come on, work with me. So I want you guys, people, to know that you're not alone. And other ways that you cope with it, number one, find somebody that you can confide in, somebody that you can trust, someone that will be there and listen to you. Another thing that you can do is, like I said, find the good in life, the good things in life. Which another thing you do is find a worthy cause, something that you feel like is worthy enough for you to do. Fight for that cause, and then not only that, contribute to it. Go and walk the dogs, or do something positive in your neighborhood. Be the voice. Be the voice. Stand up and be counted. One voice. It only takes one person to stand up, and that one person, if it's me or someone else, stand up and be counted. Other things, remember that suicide. This is one thing that's important. I found that was important. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. The problem will not always last. It will not always be there. But if suicide is happening and it happens, that's permanent. You can't come back. You've killed yourself. You committed suicide. And so remember that it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Problems won't always be there. Other things is, find something that you're good at, a good job, do things, be creative, engage into other things, get involved at the Y, or at a local church or whatever in your community, engage in exercise and go jogging, hiking. I love the horseback ride, so if you like to go horseback riding, go horseback riding, go canoeing, do positive things. And saying all that, avoid being alone. Try not to be by yourself all the time. Do things with people and get in groups. Other things will be, if you want to commit suicide by way of medication, point out, if it's not your medication, please don't take it. If it's not prescribed by your PCP, your personal physician, or a person or a practitioner that you visit, don't take the medication because it can do more harm than a little bit. Other things is be positive. What I do is I go into the mirror and I look in the mirror and I tell myself how handsome I am, or tell yourself how beautiful you are, how handsome you are, or how nice you look, or how red brings out your skin, or brown brings out your eyes, or how gorgeous your hair is. If you don't know, I've got locks and I love my locks, and just different things like that. And then also write your feelings down and express to yourself how you feel. And those are some of the ways that you can cope with it. There's so much information out there. And also, like I said, I don't know if I said it, but I'm going to repeat it. You are not alone. If you feel like you're alone, you are not alone. There are people out there that suffer from depression and that go through suicide and suicidal thoughts all the time. I was actually on Facebook. Another thing that inspired me is that I was watching a couple of videos of people who make videos about their friends who committed suicide. So if you're out there and you know someone, be the guy that was in Kyle's life. Stand up and be the voice. Stand up and make a difference. Be Kyle's friend. Whoever it is, be that person's friend. Talk to the person who's never being talked to, or talk to the person and befriend the person that's always being talked about. I challenge you today. This is the voice with Stand Up and Be Counted, one voice. Be the voice in your community. Be the voice in your school. Be the voice on your job. Be the voice in your church. Be the voice in your community. Wherever you are, be the voice. Stand up and be counted. Let's stop hatred. Let's make love and not hatred. Hatred is a very, very cruel and evil thing. And I believe that if we can stop those things, we can stop suicide and suicidal thoughts and depression. Again, my attempt is to the awareness of suicide, to raise the awareness so that we can lure these sicknesses and these illness in America and across the nation. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, this is The Voice. It only takes one person to stand up and be counted. I'll stand up and be counted, and I'll be the voice in my community, and I'll be the voice on YouTube and whatever else and wherever else I gotta go. So just know, whoever you are, if you suffer with depression or suicidal thoughts, you're not alone, and there is somebody out there that thinks that you're worthy enough and that you are loved. Again, thank you guys for tuning in and listening. I hope to be able to make more videos. If you guys are on YouTube, please comment and leave your comments. If you're on Facebook, please find me on Facebook at Stand Up and Be Counted One Voice. Like my page. Feel free to email me at standupandbecountedonevoice@gmail.com. And please reach out to someone if you're suffering with depression or suicide. Feel free to call the National Society Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Sorry about that. At 1-800-273-8255. Yeah. 1-800-273-8255. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and I hope you guys enjoy.